Hey folks, I'm really excited. Happy Walleye Wednesday. I'm here with Jake Van Rooyen, and we are at the BlueWater Anglers Hatchery in Point Edward. And we have quite the facility here, Jake.
Yes.
This was founded in
1982, the club was founded. The hatchery opened in 1986.
Fantastic.
First fish went out the following spring.
So we're going to go inside and we're going to show you a little tour of this incredible state-of-the-art hatchery. That's your main well?
That's our main well. There's 4 pumps down there. One on each one of those lines. 3 of them are 2 horsepower, and the other one is a 3 horsepower, good for 180 plus 90, 270 gallon mountain. Wow.
How often does it happen you lose power? What's it?
Times a year.
A couple times a year?
Wow. And it's an automatic transfer.
So it knows the minute you lose power to your box, this kicks off. That's incredible. And up there is where you're adding oxygen.
So it becomes saturated, which is, in our case, about 11 parts per million. We start with eggs coming from the mill dam in Owen Sound. We bring them back to the hatchery, we fertilize them, and after about 21 to 28 days, we'll start seeing eyes and the backbone, which is in this sample. You see the white line and the eye. That's the stage when they're not fragile. In between fertilization and eye up, they're too fragile. You start rolling around, you'll kill them. Some of the studies say 2 millimeters is enough to knock them out. So after another 22 days, they'll hatch, and they're what we call sac fry. So they will feed on that sac for 20 to 30 days. They won't take any normal food. So at this point, we introduce them, when the sac is gone, we introduce them to food. We also treat them for thiamine deficiency. And at this size, then we put them in the tanks and start feeding them.
This is an automatic egg picker. I have never seen one of these.
Well, you put the eggs in here, and the water pushes the eggs here. This wheel is turning, and it's got a set of eyes on the side. So it looks for color.
No way.
So when it sees a dead egg, there's a solenoid in here, opens an air jet, and pumps the dead egg out. The good eggs go over here, and the air jet blows them out, and you collect them coming out the other side.
The fertilization process, is it a wet process or a dry process?
Wet.
It's wet.
Okay, we take the eggs, we put them in a pan, put sperm from 2 males, mix them for 3 minutes, put a couple of cups of water in them, then we stir them again for about 3 minutes, put them in the large tank of water to wash off the surplus. Then we put them through a disinfection process. They sit for just under an hour in Ovidine. Okay, that's supposed to take all the bugs off of them. The biggest problem that we have is if they start growing fungus. You start getting fungus on the eggs. I've seen it before. We were using a formaldehyde control. You pull out one of those trays and it looked like a cake pan. They were all stuck together. You lose 90% of them or all of them, because they all turn white, all gooey. But we use formaldehyde every other day, 10 parts per million for 20 minutes, and as you've seen, those trays are clean.
Yes, they are.
And that's a big secret. Because when one egg dies, it's like a barrel of apples. It gets the one next to it, and you'll just see clusters.
So the arduous job in hatchery, at this stage anyway, is going through each tray and picking out all the dead eggs. And you have to do that every day?
Every day.
Every day.
And these eggs are just to the point of eyeing up. Anything earlier than that, they're too fragile to do the same thing with.
Now, what's your hope in a typical year? If you're getting 80,000 eggs, how many smolts are you hoping?
Hopefully we would get 60,000 at least. Now, some of these eggs are going to go to the schools. We have 5 schools this year that will have mini hatcheries in them. And their success rate's been pretty good. It's an amazing program to see the kids' reaction.
Do you hand them over at the eyed up stage? Is that what you hand them?
What's the difference between a Ghana Alaska rainbow and another rainbow?
They're from a different water system. So it's a DNA imprint from where they come from. So these are imprinted to the Ganaraska River, whereas something, say, what's another, Nottawasaga Run Rainbow would have a different DNA imprint.
But will they look the same?
Pretty much, yeah. You might have a little bit of physical difference as well as colors.
There is physical difference.
A little bit.
You know, out west, you got the greenback walleyes?
Yeah.
You call them greenbacks?
Yes.
Yeah. And our walleyes, we just call them walleyes.
Yeah.
They're more brown and gold, or there's a more green and gold.
Okay, so that's tank 2. Its feeder is staying on for 600 milliseconds. So it's just enough to pull that plunger. The solenoid plunger opens it up, and every 7 minutes it's dropping.
Wow. And roughly a handful of feet at a time?
Yeah. So we do a weight check once a week on the fish in the tank, and we calculate how much food they should get. With rainbows, this tank is about 1.5% of their body weight is what they're getting on a daily basis.
24 guys clipped all the fins for these fish. And roughly how many have you got in this tank here?
Well, between the 2 tanks, it's about 22,000.
22,000 fins to clip.
Yeah.
That's an arduous task. And these are ready to stock at any moment. As soon as water temperature, you say, is it too high right now?
Yeah. As soon as we get within 5 degrees of the hatchery temperature, then the shock isn't going to kill them.
Incredible. Can't imagine fin clipping all those fish. Well, Jake, I'll tell you, some of these bows and browns that you have in this pond are absolutely enormous. And what is the purpose of these fish? You were telling me something about kids coming down and fishing with them?
The last Saturday in May every year we put on a kids training day. So we bring in the Coast Guard, the OPP, Child Find, different community groups that have some input to children. Then we expose them to fishing. We do a little fly tying. We have they all do some casting. We show them the difference between some of the rods and reels. They get to tie knots. Then they finish up here at the pond and they get to catch a fish. And on the way out, we give them a hot dog and a pop, and some of them win a prize.
Well, that sounds like a great deal. That's fantastic.
I want to thank the BlueWater Anglers for inviting us down to their Point Edward facility, and for Jake Van Rooyen for showing us around this incredible hatchery. And I invite you to join me next week where I'll be up on Georgian Bay fishing for some of these very same rainbow trout with Action Fishing Adventures and Captain Tony DeGasperis. Until then, happy Walleye Wednesday. Yeah, baby!